Good evening, Metal Faithful. It is I, your mandated reporter, and frankly, I'm mortified, Mr. Mark Radulich, and this is the Metal Hammer of Doom. Tonight, we are formally requesting in writing, in triplicate, we requested it through Shifthound, that you clean off your filthy pigs, you turn over the dark side of the spoon, you understand that a mind is a terrible thing to taste, open your prayer guides to the book of Revelation, Psalm 69, AmeriKKKant, From Beer to Eternity. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight on the docket, we are reviewing Ministry's latest album, Moral Hygiene, which debuted October 1st, 2021. We're getting to it a month late because we had to do all the October nonsense first, but here we are. They released 3 singles from this album: Alert Level on April 24th, 2020, Good Trouble, that's an oxymoron, July 8th, 2021, and Search and Destroy, which is an Iggy Pop cover, on August 20th, 2021. Joining me, it's actually the Stooges. I should correct myself. Joining me tonight, first, the disapproving dad and the man who knows when to trick-or-treat, whether I like it or not, Jesse Starcher. How do you do, sir?
Mark Radulich, it is good to be here tonight to talk about the follow-up to AmeriKKKant, doing some Ministry, and hey, you know, I'm so excited, been chomping at the bit to talk about this album, and I was, ever since I heard it was in the works, I was all about waiting patiently for Uncle Al to grace us with his presence again.
Listen, I don't care about any of that. Here's what I brought you on to talk about. Here's what I brought you on to talk about.
All right.
A couple of days ago, and we're not going to spend yet another 20 minutes on this. I just want you to know, people out there, that when I do wrong, when I'm wrong about something, when I do wrong to someone else, on the occasion that I do, which I don't do much because I'm awesome, but on the occasion that I mess up, I am man enough. I have broad shoulders enough. I have strong enough ego integrity to admit when I'm wrong. And I gave Jesse a bit of jazz on Sunday.
Jazz.
Yes.
Indeed.
I gave him some shit. And I said, "Oh, I can curse on this show because this isn't going to get monetized." Ha! Hot damn.
Suck it, YouTube.
Wait, we get monetized?
That's Robert Cooper, everybody. Hi, Robert.
Hello.
Okay, now go back in the corner. I've talked to Jesse now. So yes,
okay,
we're monetized on YouTube. Like, our shit makes money now. It's amazing, except for when I talk, because apparently I get us demonetized every time I open my fucking mouth. So,
but you're on like all the podcasts. So does that mean
no money?
Yeah, well, since
labor of love,
the Metal Hammer of Doom will never make us any money at all. It's just the most popular thing we do, oddly enough. So it doesn't matter. Anyway, the point being,
because I'm here.
Okay, Jason.
That's right.
So the point being that I gave Jesse an unending amount of crap for taking his kids trick-or-treating on not Halloween. And I went to my wife, who's the authority on all things I don't care about.
Okay.
You know, if the vast majority of the things on this earth that I don't pay attention to or I'm not thinking about, and I kind of need to consult her and be like, "Wife, someone told me about a thing in the culture, and because I don't care about it, I didn't know it was happening." And she was like, "Yes, this is happening, and these are the people that are dealing with it, and this is why it's escaped your stupid head." I'm like, "Oh, okay, thank you for filling me in, wife." And she says, "Stop calling me wife, I have a name, you asshole." That's how we talk to each other. And after the podcast, I went to her, I'm like, "So get this fucking cornbread one horse town shit that Jesse's family does." And I told her that you guys go trick-or-treating on the last Saturday of every October, regardless of when Halloween is, because that's what you guys do. And I'm like, "Isn't that crazy?" And she's like, "Yeah, no, that's communities have been doing that for years now. If there's a lot of kids and a lot of families in the community, it's kind of an agreed upon thing that's what they'll do, because who the hell wants to go trick-or-treating in the middle of the week or on a Sunday when it's a school night?" So yeah,
wow, that sounds like exactly what I said.
I don't remember.
You don't, because you don't fucking listen. Okay, I'm glad you listen to your wife at least.
It's not that I don't listen to you and listen to her, or not listen to her but only listen to Jesse, because both of those things have happened. It's that I need to hear it and have it verified
Twice.
at least 3 or 4 times.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not taking anything on face value.
Now, yeah, it's like not aside from the fact that I'm one person that is experiencing the exact thing that I'm describing to you. You went and talked to your wife just so you could get a confirmation that yes, that does indeed happen to somebody else, Mark.
Yeah.
Yes, it does indeed happen to other towns.
Yeah.
So I'm glad.
Yep.
I'm glad, and I do appreciate the gestures that you're making here.
Yeah.
Your apology is, I mean, sure, it's necessary. Absolutely. I'm glad you feel better.
I'm sorry, Jesse Starcher, for doubting you. I will absolutely do so in the future.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'm glad we got that out of the way.
Robert Cooper, funny thing happened on the way to the podcast tonight. You want to hear about it?
Well, I mean, if I said no, you'd probably tell me anyways.
So here's what happened. I'm at dinner. I'm at dinner. You really could have just said ham sandwich. I would have had the same reaction. I'm at dinner with my folks and my son. My daughter and my wife are at musical theater. So took this as an opportunity. I hadn't seen my parents in a little bit. Said, hey, why don't we get dinner? I can get a free meal out of them. And they were like, my mom gets the impression we're a close family. I get a free steak. See how that works? So I said to my son, I'm like, hey, we got to go to dinner with your grandparents. And he was like, you promised me a night all to myself. I could even make my own dinner and you would leave me alone until bedtime. And I'm like, I know, but Grandma wants to see us and we should go see Grandma because she has a lot of money. And
who should we go see?
Grandma.
Grandma!
God damn it. I messed that up. All right, we'll fix it in post. Yeah, can you cue me up again, please?
Pardon?
Can you cue me up again?
Oh, who are we going to go see?
Grandma!
That's
Better?
good. All is well in the world.
All right. Nailed it. Anyway, so, go see grandparents, make a grandma happy. It's fine. We both howled at the moon, and then we got over it, and then we went to go have dinner. So we're sitting at dinner, and Jonas wants to be a part of the adult conversation. He's there. Why shouldn't he be, right? He doesn't want to sit in color. He doesn't have a game. He's like, I want to be a part of this conversation, whatever it is. And so at one point, he was, my dad and I are talking about something, and he's like, this is boring. I don't know what you guys are saying. Can we talk about something else? And I'm like, okay, Jonas, what do you want to talk about? And no shit, Jesse, he goes, I have a thought. I'd like to posit a theory. What if everything we know to be true was in fact a lie? And I'm like, if this motherfucker pulls out a blue and a red pill, I'm running out of this goddamn restaurant.
Oh man.
Sounds like he's been hitting the old truth serum there.
So I'm like, go on.
That is straight up. That is YouTube. My son says shit like that, and I'm like,
I see.
YouTube.
That's why we're having this conversation before we get into the Ministry album. And this all connects because Ministry is into conspiracy theories. My son now apparently into conspiracy theories. But yeah. I wanted to share this with you because I was like, is this just my weirdo kid or is this kind of a thing now? Anyway, he's like, what if everything we knew was a lie? And I'm like, go on. He goes, well, what if, say, for example, George Washington wasn't really a historical figure, but rather a myth? And we just perpetuate the myth year after year after year. And we tell kids about George Washington because it serves some sort of ulterior purpose. But he's not really real.
This is your son.
Yeah, I'm paraphrasing.
Saying this.
I'm paraphrasing,
okay, right.
But that's basically what he said. If I were to actually...
some really... I mean, granted, it's YouTube recycled stuff.
Okay.
But I will tell you that it's interesting, just like it was for me when I heard my 7-year-old saying stuff like this. What does your
7-year-old say?
I was sitting there trying to think of something.
Melt steel beams.
That's next year. I guarantee it.
He walked into Jesse's basement one day, just threw down a bunch of charts and diagrams, and be like, "Let me tell you about the magic bullet, Dad."
Have you seen Loose Change, Dad? So, yeah, I mean, I can't think of anything specific off the top of my head, but I know that just to think that stuff like that is resonating with them at this young of an age.
Yeah.
You know that what the fuck were we thinking of when we were 7? When
Not
we were
that.
8?
That. I was not contemplating possibly living in the Matrix. I can tell you that right now.
Right. Exactly. It's crazy.
I had to explain to him the long storied history of documentation, that you would have to go back to kind of biblical times and before for you to start really thinking about, well, is this really what happened, or is this just a myth that was perpetuated for whatever the reasons were? I'm like, for the last couple of centuries, we've had a pretty good documentation system, and only 1 or 2 libraries that burnt down. We're fine.
Right.
George Washington, real guy. Did most of what it said he's a dude. Did most of what it's been said he's done. You can rest assured about that. And then he kind of takes a beat, and he's like, is it bad that at 7 years old I'm really into conspiracy theories? And I said, yes, you neckbeard, and you can't be on Reddit anymore. No, he actually asked me. I actually made that joke with him. I was like, what, have you been on Reddit lately? He's like, what's a Reddit? I'm like, you'll never know, because I won't let you go down that rabbit hole.
No, please don't. He's gonna be like showing up to like dinner parties, being like, did you hear about the chemtrails, Grandma?
Oh my God. I fear for the day he gets the right to vote. Like, hey,
it's all right. It can't be any worse than the people we already have.
There's this orange head on television telling, let's make America great again. I'm voting for him. No, you're the fuck not. I'll make you commit a felony just to get your voting rights taken away.
A lot of people did, unfortunately, but that's okay. Actually, it's not okay.
Well, no. Well,
Uncle Al's here to tell us why.
Yeah, good segue. Very nice segue. You feel like you've done this podcast before.
A few years.
All right, so we have been documenting Ministry on this podcast for the last couple of albums. We did From Beer to Eternity. That got re-aired recently on here. In fact, when this came out, I re-aired it. A couple of years before that, we, or rather before the re-airing, we reviewed AmeriKKKant. We haven't reviewed anything else by Ministry. I know that because I looked. But Moral Hygiene is the 15th studio album by Ministry. It was in production for about 3 years following the release of AmeriKKKant. The album marks the band's first collaboration with bassist Paul D'Amour, who joined Ministry in 2019, and the first one to include a song cover since Relapse, which sucks, by the way. Moral Hygiene also includes guest appearances with guitarist Billy Morrison, former Megadeth bassist David Ellefson, former N.W.A. member Arabian Prince and Ministry's frontman Jourgensen's former bandmate in Lard, Jello Biafra. Oh, Jello. We need to do more Jello Biafra stuff on here, Jesse.
Right. I agree.
I kept thinking the entire time you kept saying Jello the opera for the longest time. I'm like, when the fuck did Jello get an opera?
Considering everything gets made into musicals these days, I'm sure it's out there somewhere.
We could write the Radulich and Broadcasting musical. Oh my goodness!
Called Jello the Opera.
Yes,
Jello the Opera.
We'll use Grammarly to do that. More on that later.
Oh, well, ooh, yeah. And you know what? Maybe we're going to get popular enough to where we can be on Amazon Music.
Maybe. We're already on
watch
Amazon.
out.
It also marks the first album since Rio Grande Blood to not feature guitarist Sin Quirin, who quit the band in March 2021 following the previous year's allegations of, take a wild guess, Jesse.
Sexual harassment.
Close. Underage sexual relations.
Okay, all right.
I guess he took the joke of grass in the fields play ball a little too seriously.
Ouch.
Oh, no, please don't do the tongue roll of that. I don't want to end up on a list.
Oh, we're on a list, buddy.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, we're pretty... They're going to have pictures of all three of us on the local library by the time we're done.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again, we really should have Mindy put it on a t-shirt that we can sell. If the FBI has a file on Slipknot, they have a file on us too. So anyway, Jesse, what are your thoughts on Ministry over the past couple of years? Because we've talked about them, and I have sung their praises, but the albums that we covered were not great, or we made fun of, or whatever the reasons were. So we've never really on this show sat and listened to the really good meat of Ministry, the best stuff that they've done.
Right. Yeah, I remember being a fan of their previous album, AmeriKKKant, and I really enjoyed it enough to where I've revisited at least, I'd say, I don't know, 2 or 3 times a year since its release. Mm-hmm. And what was it? Was it 2019 or 2018?
18.
2018. Okay. So, I was impressed with what we heard there. And we had a fun time covering what was happening in that album, what was being said. Now, as to the previous, if you remember correctly, I was not a Ministry fan, or I shouldn't say I was not somebody who had listened to a lot of it. So, yeah, buddy, it's still on my agenda to go back and jump into the discography of these guys. I know you and I have shared an experience watching, was it Jesus Built My Hot Rod?
Yeah.
No, that was Lamb of God's cover, though, wasn't it? I think.
No.
Lamb of God.
Didn't we actually I feel like on one of the Metal Hammer of Doom extras that we did a bunch of different Ministry videos, because I remember talking about the Just One Fix one, and the old guy standing in the middle of the road and us having this good laugh about that. And I swear to God, I think we did Jesus Built My Hot Rod. Here,
yeah,
I might look it up real quick. Hang on.
I might be getting that confused with. Well, anyway, either way. So you've at least had the opportunity to play some of the Ministry that you've enjoyed in the past for me, and I've never come away with like, oh my gosh, I hated it. Now, Surgical Meth Machine, I know it's kind of like adjacent
We're tired
to this
of it
right now, but boy, oh boy. We're tired of it. That didn't come from Surgical Meth Machine. We got Nickelback, our especially wonderful Nickelback clip that I don't think we have anymore.
Nickelback, I wouldn't give you a penny back.
Hey, I got an answer for you. We did Just One Fix, Twilight Zone, and 99 Percenters.
Okay, all right. So, well. Yeah, I mean, so there you go. I mean, I haven't had a chance to go back and listen to a lot of their previous stuff, so I'm still just kind of new to this Ministry game.
All right, you, Robert. I know when going back and listening to the From Beer to Eternity, the thing about that show was I think like your first time listening to the band, and I always felt really guilty about that because I was like, oh, this is I've done nothing but sing this band's praises. I'm making Robert listening to him. This is the first time. This is his first impression of this band, and it sucked diddly-ucks. And again, I always felt bad about that because I wanted you to like Ministry as much as I did, and there was no way you could after listening to that album. Have you since, and you weren't on the AmeriKKKant review, so have you since gone back and listened to any of the old stuff, like Psalm 69 or A Mind is a Terrible Thing to Taste or anything like that?
Not really. I'll be honest, there's some tracks on this album that make me want to go check out what they used to sound like, because I feel like some of that could probably be reminiscent of their previous sound. But yeah, judging from the last few albums as well as the Meth Machine that we tackled, Jesus fucking Christ, Uncle Al really I really feel like sometimes he has too much inspiration in the world for what he could be making songs out of, because
oh my goodness, right?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like in terms of ammunition, this guy's a regular school shooter. So
nice. All right,
the targets are easy, and he's loaded.
Who wants to hear some music? Do you want to hear music? We've got music we can listen to, Jesse.
I love it. Let's get this party started.
Alrighty, so let's do, first, if you're just listening to us for the first time, you're wondering, will they ever play music? Ever? Yes, we're going to start right now. But we're going to play 3 tracks at a time, about a minute of each track. Here we go. We've got Alert Level, Good Trouble, and Sabotage is Sex. I love Jello Biafra's voice. I really do. Like, at some point, we gotta get some Lard on here. See, the problem is, like, every week that we do a Metal Hammer of Doom, it's always the new albums. Like, we don't have fun anymore. No, we don't do, like, hey, there's nothing out coming out this week, but we need something to talk about, so let's do a Slayer, retrospective, or let's do a Death retrospective, or let's do, the entire history of Megadeth in 2 parts. We don't do stuff like that anymore. Maybe, like, we do something for Christmas, but that's about it. But I really would love one day to just do, like, an ode to Jello Biafra and all of his various nuttery. Not to mention a Ministry retrospective, but I don't know, maybe someday. In any case, I love Jello Biafra's voice. So far, of the 3 songs, my favorite of those 3 was Sabotage's Sex. And I have to say, already, we're off to a better start than I think the last 2 albums with Moral Hygiene. What do you think, Jesse?
I will say that these first 3 tracks are absolutely what I wanted to hear from N.W.A and Ministry. As I started this album, I was like, if we are going to do this the rest of the album, there's going to be some accolades, some praise sang about Ministry on the podcast. And I will agree with you there. These are 3 of the strongest off of here, so that is going to set it apart from AmeriKKKant. But I unfortunately will tell you that I think it's after these first 3, we're not going to be keeping up the pace, in my opinion, as far as enjoyability for myself anyway. Real quick, just to kind of throw out, we head over to genius.com. We always get to see some stuff from Apple Music over there. And I'll talk to you about Sabotage's Sex, and I'll read to you what Al Jourgensen said. So he says, I'm really persnickety about the lyrical content and the message I want to send, but also vocal technique, effects on the vocals and such. I wasn't really happy with the vocal I did on this, so I thought, let's give Uncle Jello a call. I've known Jello Biafra for decades, and I know his perspective is very similar to mine on almost everything. Within 2 days, he sent back Sabotage is Sex. He sounds amazing in rare, true form, actually, but if you want to know what it's about, you'll have to ask him. So I don't know if that's like, if he just laid down the music and then sent him the opportunity to just come up with whatever he did.
Here, Jello this up for me, would you? All right, mate, spawn, and die. Have you ever heard that?
Yeah, no, I have not.
You've never heard Mate, Spawn, and Die? No, damn it! You've been on one too many shows with me. You see my nuttery.
Oh no!
No, not my nuts.
This is a Christian podcast.
Oh, no, it is not, sir.
I know. I once talked about wanting to burn down a local church.
Don't you have a date over?
She's laughing at it.
She laughs at church burnings? Where did you meet this girl?
I mean, what can I say? Marshmallows for everybody.
Did you meet her in some sort of 4chan, or what is the one that Jeff's always trying to get me to go on?
4chan.
At least it's not. Well, I mean, at least it's not like 2chan.
What's has Jeff from the MCU's Bleeding Edge ever asked you to join whatever like forums thing that he does?
Oh no, I can't make the joke because I'll end up on a list.
Jesse,
N.W.A. Okay, I made the joke. There we go. We're all on the list now.
I don't know why you just yelled out N.W.A, but that's not what I was talking about. No,
well, yeah, well, I don't know. You were trying to get him to guess whatever forum that is, and I just kind of felt like N.W.A was a good choice.
It's not.
I'm aware of what N.W.A is. I once told my friend that while we have Nick Fury, agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., I think he would be agent of N.W.A. And he's like, "What's that? Hold on, I'll look it up."
This took a dark turn unnecessarily. I can't.
I met her on a dating site. It was pretty all right. It was a dating site that both of us thought was going to be a joke.
Did you meet her in like a Reddit conspiracy theory thread?
Actually, funny thing.
Oh, God. Why?
No, actually, we didn't. I was going to make a joke about no, but I'm sure your son might meet someone there someday.
I can almost guarantee it. And I will have just as much of a headache listening to him as I do the inmates that I talk to who want to spout conspiracy theories at me. Anyway, Jesse, your thoughts on Ministry's first 3 tracks?
Fantastic. I hope... like I said, I would hope that they would keep this up, but I think these are the 3 strongest off of here.
Okay. I listened to this earlier today and a little bit last week in preparation for this. Maybe it's just because I was busy doing other stuff while I was listening to it, so I wasn't as focused on it maybe as I should have been. But I just felt like this moved a lot faster and a lot better than the last 2 albums did. This one also didn't seem to annoy me nearly as much as I remember AmeriKKKant annoying me. You know what I mean?
Oh, it annoyed you.
Dude, we made fun of that record hardcore to the point where we pissed people off.
Well, okay, I will give you that. I mean, if we're talking politics, that's a different story. If we're talking songs, I enjoyed what I heard, but man, when it comes into like the politics and stuff, yeah, there's some criticism that could easily be lobbed toward what we're getting in this. I think, although I believe the message in these first, at least the second 2, Good Trouble and Sabotage's Sex, I mean, you can't really not get behind a Fuck the Police song, right? I mean, come on, Mark Radulich. I know that's what you're screaming every day at the jail.
Hang on. I want to take you back. I want to turn back the hands of time. You ready?
Do it.
3 years ago. This is awesome, guys. Very cool podcast. I feel this is their best. This is regarding AmeriKKKant, by the way. I feel
this turns ugly real quick. This is awesome. I can't. Oh boy. All right, go ahead.
I feel their best is Land of Rape and Honey. What? You're not down with Phil Pig? Damn, that he was doing like a stream of consciousness as he's listening to the podcast. You're not down with Phil Pig? Damn, that's tragic, man. Phil Pig is totally fucking epic, yo. How about Animosity? That's my other favorite Ministry. Gotta say, this new record is a pleasant return to form reminiscent of Dark Side of the Spoon and the almighty Phil Pig. I'm loving me some groovy ass AmeriKKKant. Okay, moving on. Thanks for the comment, friend. My favorite is Psalm 69, the George W. Bush trilogy, and Land of Rape and Honey, and mine is a terrible thing to taste. That's what I said back to him. He says, should also send special shout out for Twitch. Uncle Al and Adrian Sherwood practically invented industrial darkwave music, and I'd be remiss not to express my undying infatuation of the darkly elegant with sympathy. Okay, I responded to that, and he goes, you're kind of hung up on Psalm 69, bro. N.W.A is cool as fuck, but please, dude, Uncle Al and his cronies have done so much epic music before and after that record. Lest we forget Every Day is Halloween is like the greatest song ever written in the history of everything. And he goes on.
All right.
The same guy.
All right.
Wow, I just realized this never stops.
What in the fucking name of Sam Hill is this guy on, man?
Wow, I just realized that I actually love every single Ministry album. The Bush trilogy is killer epic. Even the last 2 before the new one have their moments of visceral exuberance. You don't like Surgical Meth Machine? That one blew me the fuck away and almost made me into an Uncle Al stalker.
Now we're losing people.
Yeah,
now we're losing.
I mean, that made me want to blow my bowels everywhere, but that's about it.
This turns into misery real quick.
Oh no, the movie?
Yes.
God.
I'll settle with being their biggest fan instead. I'm a bona fide Ministry geek aficionado, and all things Al Hypoluxa Jourgensen fanatical fucking whack job, and damn well proud of it. And it just keeps going. Victims of a Clown has the potential to be a hit song like on the Billboard's Top 40 mainstream. I'm going to go ahead and tell you that never happened.
What?
Because it's so fucking catchy and it stays with you. Definitely the best one on the new record.
I did like that song, but it is not.
Best one on the new record, with Twilight Zone being a close second to the chagrin of most butthurt fans. I dare to say how deeply I love the controversial track Antifa. The guy who complained about Victims of a Clown not having enough because it just went on and on. Well, play him the entire track. It envelopes into other cool stuff with an epic ballsy ending that segues nicely into the awesome song We're Tired of It.
We're tired of it.
We're tired of it.
Oh, God. And it goes on. Listening to this broadcast again, and I must declare my agitation.
Oh, okay.
Again.
Declare it, sir. Declare it loud and proud.
You're decimating.
That's good. At least we know that if he ever goes flying listening to our stuff, he's declared it.
Despite my agitation towards your decimating remarks against my many Ministry albums that are all considered cult classics, Filth Pig, Dark Side of the Spoon. By the way, Filth Pig sucks. Dark Side of the Spoon sucks. Animositissa Mina sucks. Are all seminal works of incendiary imagination. I am truly offended by your slanderous remarks. I find your rhetoric to be...
There's no way this guy could be... He cannot be taking... We can't be taking this dude seriously. There's no way this guy is an actual person that feels this way. Like...
There are 20 comments, and most of them are this guy.
Wow.
That's so bad.
I mean, look... I'm
guessing you don't want me to keep reading?
I don't know. I don't know if it's me or the audience that wants, just end it.
Finish him.
There is one... Oh, gosh. Okay, there is one here that made me... Okay, this one makes me crack up, and then I'll stop. Ugh, man. When you say that phrase, despite Ministry and all their shitty albums, it makes my blood boil, dude. You were so fucking wrong about that. Yeah, it's almost like people could have different opinions on things. It's weird.
No, you're so wrong, dude.
I'm so wrong. I am objectively wrong about that. It's like saying your heart is in your mouth and your foot's on your head. It's objectively wrong.
I mean, look, I again will say that I really dug the last album. I thought it was pretty good. But I'm, this guy really likes his Ministry.
Yeah. And he will not be convinced otherwise. That's just fine.
He won't. That's fine. That's fine, sir. We appreciate the interaction. And,
God have mercy
I think
on your soul.
He may have been one of the people that made me decide that maybe I should turn YouTube comments off for all of my videos from here on out.
No, that will always and forever be Baby Metal and Judas Priest. I was telling somebody else.
Kira.
Oh, man. Gosh.
Right, are we ready to hear another 3 tracks?
Yes.
I mean, I didn't even get to talk about the 3 that
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Coop.
So I didn't know that was Jello Biafra. I was very confused because I thought it sounded very much like Bobby Blitz Ellsworth. And I was like, why the fuck would Bobby Blitz be working with Uncle Al? He's a diehard Republican.
Oh, boy, that would be something.
Oh yeah, I was very confused. I'm like, this can't be Bobby Ellsworth, but it sounds like him. So knowing that this Jello the Opera, it makes me want to go, spend some more time listening to the opera. What can I say? But yeah, I mean, these first 3 tracks were really fucking good, and it had me a lot of hope. And I'm like, man, this is why Mark's so into this band. And then as it kept going, I was like, wow, I can barely hear any of the words in this, and it all just sounds like background music.
It becomes the clip show.
Yeah. All right. Now let's move on to the next 3 tracks here. Here we go. We've got Disinformation, the Stooges cover Search and Destroy, and Believe Me.
As misinformation and so-called fake news continues to be rapidly distributed on the internet, our reality has become increasingly shaped by false information.
False and fake.
All right. The first half of this album is brought to you by one of our great sponsors, and that is Grammarly. Oh, Jesse, you know what Grammarly's all about, don't you?
Oh my goodness, I have just loved the fact that I could use Grammarly when I am doing my notes for my comics podcast, when I am writing up some synopsises. I bet you right then Grammarly would tell me exactly how I'm supposed to say that word.
That's right. Well, it just so happens that Grammarly's AI-powered products help people communicate more effectively. Grammarly helps you write mistake-free on Gmail, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and nearly anywhere else you write on the web. Grammarly corrects hundreds of grammar, punctuation, and spelling mistakes while also catching contextual errors, improving your vocabulary, and suggesting style improvements. To download Grammarly today and take advantage of the free trial that we're giving away, go to getgrammarly.com/W2M Network. Again, that's getgrammarly.com/W2M Network to download Grammarly for free. So you click the link, helps us out, and then you get a great product that you can try out and see if it'll make life writing on the web easier for you. I know it does for Jesse, does for me, does for Pat. Pat and I have to rely on a lot of notes for all of our boxing and wrestling podcasts because we're digging into a lot of history, and Grammarly helps us both keep things organized and write things in a way that is entertaining for all you millions and millions of fans of the Radulich Broadcasting Network, and millions more every day. What are you laughing at, Cooper? Don't laugh at me.
Millions and millions.
Spread out over many different catchers and
eras.
platforms. Yes. Shut up.
What if we have 1 million? Do we have 1 million listens if you add up everything the entire network has done?
Yes.
Yes.
We actually do.
Okay.
It's really bad. It's really
well over it, actually, I think.
Yeah. Well, you got to understand, just going by a couple of ones on YouTube where people thought it was the actual movie got us up over 1 million.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
Well, we did.
Our stats are hilarious.
I got every once in a while I'll go through my comments just on my page, and where you and I covered World War Hulk, I think is what it was. Some guy got on there is like, clickbait rubbish, this is not the real movie. And it says like fucking issues 1 through 6. I'm like, well, no shit, dude. Anyway, I got a view. So
it's not the brightest light bulb in the box, is it?
I got an even better one. So occasionally, and I don't think I'm going to do these anymore. I don't know how helpful this is, but it also engenders this reaction. So I told Jesse about this a while ago that I've spent a fair amount of money on Facebook ads for the podcast, and like $10 here, a couple dollars there, like nothing big, but just trying to see if we can get the word out a little bit more, and the Facebook,
I saw this.
The Facebook ads apparently allow for comments. So I have gotten a string of hate mail from people.
Oh no.
And not just because I did one for the Pride comic that Sean and Alexis and I reviewed. That one, that one I knew was going to look, when half the country hates the gays, you're going to get people who are like, get this shit off my page. Okay, so fine. I don't know how that happened. I really thought I was targeting a very specific audience for it, but I guess I don't know. Somehow it landed on people's pages that maybe LGBTQ allies, but still didn't need me promoting the Pride comic review on their Facebook page. But the funnier ones are the ones that are just generally hate me because I dared to advertise on their Facebook page, and I have gotten comments like, "I hope you die. Leave us alone. Leave us alone, Jesse." I'm harassing people, is the interpretation.
Yeah, as part of the Radulich and Broadcasting Facebook, I guess, team or whatever, you've allowed me access to where I can see the messages that come in.
Yeah.
So that most recent one, which I think happened last week, where somebody just decided that either we sent him a message, out of the fucking blue. I don't know if you saw this or not, but it looked like we had messaged him saying, hey, how can we help you?
Yeah.
He was like, how about you go back to fucking MySpace? And I'm like, whoa, dude, what the fuck?
You're like, bro, I am a Friendster person, all right?
So my favorite one recently was, I did one a ways back, and this might have been for the other feed. That's how long ago I did some of these Facebook ads, and I guess they're still out there or just now closing up shop. and it was the one where I used the Peter Griffin grinding my gears meme, and I think I had redid it, and it was like for over 15. It was like the 15-year anniversary of the Radulich and Broadcasting Network, and I said for over 15 years we've been grinding your gears, which I thought was funny, right? You know,
it rhymes.
Yeah, we have a storied history of agitating people, so I thought that would be funny. And this guy wrote me. He was like, doesn't know how to use a meme correctly, can't possibly be good content. I have questions now. Like, in what way did I use the meme incorrectly, number one? And number two, how do those two things equate? What constitutes good content? Like, I want to have this guy on the show and talk to him.
I don't.
I think it would be fascinating to hear what this neckbeard has to say.
Sounds like the guy's about as useful as a crocheted condom.
I would agree with you. But considering what I do for a living is talk to idiots who have nothing of value to say, I think this conversation could be just above that.
That's true.
Okay.
I feel like you have more to say, Jesse. Do you want to share?
Oh no, you're.
Maybe he's tired of it.
I would ask you to repeat it just so I could make sure that I heard you right. But I get the joke.
Okay. So anyway, Disinformation, Search and Destroy and Believe Me. I really liked the Disinformation track. I thought it was really good. I enjoyed the Stooges cover of Search and Destroy. Believe Me is a little on the slow side, but overall, this has been a solid yet nondescript entry into the Ministry catalog. What say you, Coop? Start with you this time so I don't cut you off again.
As somebody who has not really experienced much of the catalog himself, I felt like the first part of this album does do a good job of representing really how I imagine their music has been historically. Because judging from the past few albums and your reaction to them, that is definitely not how they typically are. Because there's definitely been a dearth of real creativity in a lot of their more modern stuff. I will say, though, that I feel like this first half of the album's a real high watermark, because after that it is, hoo boy.
Yeah.
It can be quite the shit stain.
Okay, then. What do you think, Jess?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to echo exactly what you guys have said. Disinformation is decent. Search and Destroy, which I, of course, surprise, I didn't know was a cover. It was done well. Believe Me, slower as it, it becomes a slower paced song at that point. And I honestly, as we reach the halfway point of the album, this album's 10 songs. We have 5 songs that are pretty decent, and then really it just starts to fade. And look, here's one of the probably, and I haven't even read any reviews yet, but one of the criticisms of this album has to be about the time frame that this album was released and versus when it was produced. Clearly, there was a lot of anger towards President Trump and his presidency and all the stuff that went on with that. But now here in 2021, we're kind of past. I wouldn't say all the way past that, but we're working our way past that. We're kind of like, okay, well, let's leave some of this shit behind. And here's Uncle Al Ministry just still bringing these things up when really, do they matter? Okay, look, I understand he does not like President Trump. All right,
gave you that idea.
I understand that, but how many?
He's tired of
it. He is quite tired of it. And we're only we're not even a year outside of everything that's occurred, but if you're making a song in 2021 about your hatred for President Bush, it's not going to be timely. So that's why this feels kind of like, okay, man, we get it. You don't like him. We heard that on AmeriKKKant. on this album here, it's just the same stuff over and over again. So I understand his viewpoint of that he, believes President Trump was a wordsmith and was able to. I mean, that song, believe me, a wordsmith.
Wordsmith isn't the word I'd use.
He has all the best words.
How about propagandist?
I don't think you understand. Okay, sure,
yeah,
whatever.
charlatan.
Well, believe me, that is a specific track that is dedicated to the fact of what he was spouting was believed by so many, and that they just kind of fell in line. I mean, he mentions death cult in there, but and a lot of that still resonates to today, because I swear I just saw a post about some QAnon people that were waiting for JFK Jr. to arise from the grave. I am not kidding you, folks. That was on the news.
Not the Onion.
No, that was on the news. That followed by a drone shot of people leaving the graveyard. It was it was pretty disturbing. But again, so I just feel like you're going to be beating a dead horse after this, and it doesn't stop with track 6. I mean, if you want to hear some more clips of President Trump and what he had to say, just stay tuned, because we've got a few. But anyway, there you go.
All right. When we come back from this next break, we will have Jesse talk about what the angry metal guy thinks of all this. How does that sound?
Yeah, we'll find out.
All right, here we go. Last 4 songs of the night, kind of a short album, but that's okay. We've got Broken System, We Shall Resist, Death Toll, and TV song number 6.
Life will never be the same. 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 Life will never be the same.
So they decided to abolish truth. Education was discouraged. Immorality. There were others who spoke for truth.
Death toll failed in jobs and deeds. So broke up, fearing rich, searching for rosebud in the fire. Pops our fingers in the pants. Therapist, you wish you had crucifix or lubricant. Government like bad. Thanks. And die.
All right, that I'm bored of the second half of this album medley, so I played the new Juke Joint Jezebel 2021 single, and because Jesse can't tell me what to do, he's not my mother, Mate, Spawn, and Die by Lard is brought to you by AmazonMusic.com. Isn't that wonderful, Jesse?
Oh, that is fantastic, Mark Radulich. I'm so glad you got that Jello Biafra Lard in there for us to experience.
Yes,
Just
sir.
great.
Yeah.
Love it.
We are giving away a free trial of the Amazon Music Unlimited service. So you can, if you just heard Mate, Spawn, and Die for the first time, there's a really funny line in it. It's like, you can't throw me to the lions. I am Charlton Heston. And my friends always thought that was hilarious. That just comes out of nowhere in the song. As whatever it is he's singing about during Mate, Spawn, and Die, him just blurt out, "You can't throw me to the lions. I'm Charlton Heston." Used to crack us up constantly. So if you're into Jello Biafra like I'm into Jello Biafra, or you just want to hear Jello the Opera, check out get AmazonMusic.com/W2M Network, and you can stream all the free music you like on Amazon Music. Isn't that wonderful, Robert Cooper?
Honestly, if there's one thing that can moisture my cloister, that would definitely be it.
But what does the Angry Metal Guy think about all this, Jesse?
Oh, my goodness. Well, hey, we'll save him for last because at least a couple quick reviews and some numbers to throw out there at you. Kerrang.com gives this album a 4 out of 5, while DistortedSoundMag.com gives it an 8 out of 10. SonicPerspectives.com looks like it's leading with an 8.3. It's great, according to them. So that's 8.3 out of 10. And then we have the College of Baptist Ministers. Oh, wait a second. That's not right. That's the wrong. Introducing a regular review of Ministry. That's the wrong link.
Oh, boy, that's. I have a feeling they're not going to be big fans of it.
I don't know. I
probably
doubt
think
it.
it's going to go to hell. I grew up in the South, damn it. That's the one thing I know about is the fucking Baptist church.
You're still in the South. You haven't left North Carolina. Why are you acting like you moved to the big city?
Because, for all the listeners know, I don't live there.
But you do.
Yeah, but they don't know that.
They do now.
Well, yeah. Well, that's not the point. Now, see, if they didn't know, now they know, because previously they could have thought I was from Montana.
That's right.
Joe Montana?
Joe Montana.
Joe Mantanella.
But what's
Wall
this
of
the angry
Sound.
guy? Yes.
No, one more. WallofSoundAU.com gives us a 7 out of 10. So, all right, Angry Metal Guy, are you ready for this? All right, let's just go ahead and give credit where credit is due. Dr. A.N. Greer wrote this review on angrymetalguy.com, and it doesn't matter who the reviewer is, they're always just the Angry Metal Guy, but here you go. Last paragraph. Because of the last couple of tracks on the record, I cannot praise this release. That's a lot of real estate to fill up with pointless shit, even by Ministry standards. Even by Ministry standards.
Like
ignoring
like
these
like musical those musical interludes you get on concept albums. Like
Right.
That's what the last part of the album felt like.
Which is several minutes long, by the way. I mean, tracks 7 through 10 are 6, 4.5, 3.5, 3 minutes. I mean, that's a good chunk of this album that, is like, as a 6-song EP, this would have been just fine. Cut the last 10 minutes off of this, and I think you got like a solid EP. Those last 4 tracks are really stupid.
Death Toll has, I went to the lyrics. Death Toll has no lyrics. It's just the preachers. COVID-19, like are they're banishing COVID-19, and apparently, he's decided that that's where he wanted to target his song, which is funny. I mean,
Where's COVID-18 through 1 through 18? That's the
1
real
through
question.
18. That's right.
The whole Bowling Green massacre. That's where.
Oh, goodness. So, and TV song number 6 is just a continuation of that, and then telling like President Trump to suck his dick and choke on it. And it's like, okay, well, we've been there with a few of the tracks earlier. So anyway,
President Trump, a middle-aged, bordering on senior citizen industrial music artist told you to suck his dick. Oh, what's his name? Al Jourgensen from Ministry, sir. What are we gonna do? Who? Al Jourgensen from Ministry. You mean one of the Catholics? No. Oh, fuck. No, sir.
Total
Which
loser.
ministry? The Baptist ministry?
Right.
Oh, no.
I've lost my evangelical base. You haven't, sir. It's quite the opposite.
I mean, they would never leave him anyways because they're pretty much clinging on to the last vestiges of their fucking...
He's upset. Back to the review. Ignoring these complaints, I rather enjoyed the album. The other 7 tracks aren't without filler, but there's a handful of addictive choruses and some pleasing songwriting. If you're a fan, this will help you forget AmeriKKKant. What? Why would you want to forget that? Anyway, the final ratings.
Maybe they're tired of it.
They might have been tired of it. Robert Cooper, I'm not tired of that joke. I'll tell you that much.
No, I'm going to run that thing into the ground so hard, you're going to think it's a shale. You're going to think that I'm drilling for shale.
2.5 out of 5, says the angry metal guy.
Overall, the first 6 tracks I really enjoyed, and the 7th was, I kind of just regarded it as one long, annoying Al jerking off track. Which, whatever. I'm past the point of being angry about stuff like this. If this is what he wants to do, it's not like it's costing me money except for the monthly fee that I use for Amazon Music, where I listen to my music.
Hey, they should sponsor us.
He's digging for shill.
Damn it! I wish we were on. I wish we were on StreamYard right now. I would have hit the My Little Pony rim shot.
Well, as long as you don't hit the My Little Pony rim job, that's on Reddit.
Push that button. Tell me what that sounds like.
Anyway, you know what? You know what?
Horsey.
Oh yeah, hang on. I still have that one on here. Hang on.
Oh, here we go.
Wait, no, I don't. God damn it, I don't. I have Are You Ready? No. I have Muppet Newsflash and music, and I have the musical chairs thing. Chairs. I don't know why I'm playing it for you. You can't hear it.
It's like, got awful quiet.
I could feel it in my spirit.
Anywho,
worst sound effect ever.
Yeah,
I might actually have to listen to this podcast.
I think when I redid Spreaker, I didn't re-upload the Dead Horse sound.
Oh, way to go!
Oh no!
Yeah, I might have to fix that.
That's one of the hallmarks of our sound, sir. That is
It's on StreamYard. I have it on StreamYard. Have you not been on one of the StreamYard shows where my new Dead Horse sound is Mungo punching out the horse from Blazing Saddles?
StreamYard.
Okay.
That'd be a no.
All right.
Like, honestly, I don't know.
All right, so Coop, I will, before the next Metal Hammer of Doom in January, I will re-upload a Dead Horse sound for you.
Please do.
Anyway, more to the point, it's okay. I really enjoy it, and then it's just the last 10 minutes. It's just Al jerking off on top of a snare drum into a microphone, and it's like, whatever. If that's what makes you happy, not costing me anything, and I can stop listening to it if I really want to. But if I have to grade the album, I think for that reason alone, I got to give it a C+. You know, like those last 4 tracks drag down the average. So it's like it's really, really good, and then you waste 10 minutes on nonsensory, and then it's like I can't give you a higher than a C+. What do you think, Jesse Starcher?
Yeah, I'll absolutely stand behind you and support that sentiment.
Woo.
You feel my support. Yeah, man. I mean, there's a reason why when you look at some of the stats here, alert level is probably one of the most played tracks, along with Good Trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And Search and Destroy, they're all really good. But you don't even approach that in the second half of this album. I respect Ministry. I respect Uncle Al with his viewpoints. You know, his political views are his own. He's an artist. He can do whatever he wants. But I mean, at some point, somebody's going to be like, okay, man, we get it. All right, I understand you're upset. You know, Mark, let me ask you a real quick question. Can you name, top 3 Ministry songs off the top of your head that you really, really like?
Thieves,
okay.
New World Order, and their cover of Roadhouse Blues. Can I pick a cover, or do I have to pick a third, like, original?
Go for an original.
Stigmata.
Okay. All right. So now this is probably not going to support my point at all, but of those that you picked, how many of those have a political bent to them?
Oof.
I'd say New World Order's probably got to.
Yeah.
I would assume.
Thieves and liars, murderers, hypocrites and bastards. There's a lot of repetition.
Is he talking
in that
about
song.
politicians in that? Okay.
When isn't he talking about politicians? And Stigmata, you tell me nothing but lies, hate, hate. I mean, I don't know.
Okay.
Those aren't. Look, okay. So I think the point that you're getting at is, like, you know, his George Bush trilogy was, like, all politics. But then, but that's the thing. Like, he'll do an album where he focuses a lot on politics, and then he'll start to do other stuff, and then it's not nearly as good. And it's like, I wish he would talk about other things and it'd be just as good, but it seldom happens. Like, his non-Bush year stuff here. I'm going to go all the way back here. Let's play a game. You ready to play a game?
Oh, let's play it.
I would have thought we wanted to end this podcast, but let's play games instead.
Just like most white men, I don't finish.
That sounds like a personal problem. All right, hang on.
I'll blame it on the depression.
Oh, jeez.
Jesus Christ. Alrighty, all right. So, starting with "The Land of Rape and Honey," that was a very popular record in its time. That came out in 1988. That's got Stigmata on it. "The Mindless a Terrible Thing" Taste came out a year later, and I think that's the one that everyone starts to key into Ministry. This is where their fan base grew considerably. The big songs off of that one were Thieves and Burning Inside, and both of which are really good. And I would have to go back and tell you what they were about necessarily, but So What's also on there. People like that one a lot. But the one that made them big, the one that everyone pays attention to, the one that went platinum, and the only one I can see on this list that went platinum is Psalm 69, "The Way to Succeed and the Way to Suck Eggs." And that one had a whole bunch of singles on it, had a whole bunch of videos. This was 1992, and this is where they were doing world tours. People knew who Ministry was. This is when industrial music starts to break into the mainstream. And so you had songs on there are N.W.A, "Just One Fix," which is about drugs, "Jesus Built My Hot Rod," "Scarecrow," Psalm 69. Yeah.
I was just going to say, "Jesus Built My Hot Rod." I mean, I know you really like that song.
Yeah.
Of course, we don't really know what that's about. I mean,
it's about ding ding dang my dang along ling wong.
It's about the church and how Jesus builds hot.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Actually, that's kind of what I was going to say. It seems like if he's not criticizing, Republicans, politicians, or the church, then it's kind of tough for him to come up with some good material.
Yeah. So the next 3 albums all suck to one degree or another. Phil Pig's okay, but this begins the downward spiral. Dark Side of the Spoon is terrible, and Animositis Samina. Someday I'll pronounce that right.
Is it like Insomnia?
I love that movie.
Yeah,
no, not really. If I remember correctly, the only song I like on here is "The Light Pours Out of Me," which is a cover of another band. So this is not great. But then from 2004 to 2007, we get the George W. Bush trilogy, and these albums are great. Like, I would just do a focus on those by themselves. Houses of the Mole, Rio Grande Blood, and The Last Sucker are fantastic. And then Bush is out of office, and we get Relapse, during the Obama years, and that sucks. And then we documented how bad From Beer to Eternity is on here, and then, AmeriKKKant, we're back into, there's a Republican in a White House, it's 2018, and it's all like, it's all we hate Trump,
Yeah.
And then this one, Moral Hygiene, which seems to have been a reaction to COVID-19, it sounds like, but also sort of cleaning up on we're still mad about Trump, but we're never gonna not be mad about the Trump thing.
I mean, to be fair, the man's not in office, but it's almost like he never left.
It's a lot.
That's all anybody fucking talks about.
All right. Anyway.
Politics.
I'm also not a fan of the Trump. I don't know if you can tell.
I could not tell. Anyway.
I enjoy him about as much as the Dallas Cowboys.
So, what did you think of the album? Let's close up shop here.
But I hate the Dallas Cowboys.
Hang on, but do you see what I'm saying, Jesse? Like, I get what you're talking about. Like, can he talk about anything else? No, apparently he can't, because when he tries, it's terrible.
Okay, all right, and I can see that. I mean, because most of the tracks that I enjoy from him, even though they do have a little bit of a political bent, and granted, I've only listened to this album and the last album and some of the stuff you played for me, I like the sound of what I'm getting, and you can't. My goodness, we're going to build a wall. I remember that being the intro to AmeriKKKant, and it's fun to kind of like be like, okay, he's kind of poking fun, but it's going to get old for some people pretty quick. It's like, okay, dude,
we're exactly have legs when you're not in the
we
time
get
period.
it.
Yeah, we get it. We don't, but whatever, that's fine.
But I'll tell you, like that guy that commented on the AmeriKKKant 20 times, he has an audience, as niche as it is, and getting nicher by the day. It's like, it's like we talk about this with wrestling. You can continue to do what you're doing, but you're only going to reach the audience you've already got. You're not going to make new fans. Like, how many people how many people from the ages of 13 to 21 in the past 10 years have caught on to Ministry and really liked it? Like, what new fans is he making with this stuff?
Well, and you got to think, on AmeriKKant, there is a song specifically called Antifa.
Mm-hmm.
And it is, I mean, one of the lyrics, if I remember correctly, is Antifa's the shit. And I'm like, okay, well, you're definitely putting a political flag out there and saying this is where I stand.
Right.
And some people would probably say that's a bit of an extreme stance.
But I'll tell you, the problem with bands like Ministry, I'll let Coop in on after this. This is the last thing I'm going to say about this. The problem with bands like Ministry is the same problem you have with movies that the critics like. Just because the critics like your movie and you get a high score on Rotten Tomatoes because the aggregate is most of the critics gave it a high score, doesn't mean people are going to go see your movie. Like, there are plenty of movies that get high scores on Rotten Tomatoes that nobody saw because nobody cares.
Yes.
And nobody's interested.
I saw it because I am an auteur.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. But like Nomadland won all the Oscars. How many people made it a point to, and that one was available on Hulu. How many people made it a point to watch that movie because the critics rated it so highly and because it was an Oscar winner? And that's the problem with bands like Ministry is the pool of people out there saying that your music is great doesn't necessarily translate to more fans. When you're like, Antifa is great. You're preaching to the choir, but who else is going to? But how, it's like, here is more to the point that I'm trying to make. The people that are like, like they might see him perform live or whatever. It's like, yeah, great. We're happy that you're saying these things. We agree with you, but we're not going to spend any money on your merch or your albums. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, just because you connect with this group of people doesn't necessarily mean they're going to take the next step and buy any of your crap. Like, they're just passively enjoying your message because that gives them like social media credentials. You know what I mean? It gives them like Twitter cred. Like, oh yeah, we agreed with the guy who hates Trump, and that means what exactly in terms of like spending money on this band. It means nothing because they don't spend it.
What penetration do you really get beyond the 3 seconds of a cultural blip that is modern society?
Right, and that's
the thing is like
that's why I was comparing it to film critics, because film critics don't spend money on these films. They get screeners. They're invited to private screenings for the purposes of review. So if 100 critics saw your movie and gave it all 100s on Rotten Tomatoes, you didn't still make any money off of that because you gave the movie away for free for the purposes of review. Go ahead, Jesse. Sorry.
Well, no, that's fine. And the other thing is, I was going to say, yeah, you're saying I hate Trump. You're the majority of the people that are your fans are going to say the exact same thing, or maybe not even. There's a lot of other people that may not be your fans, but your opinion is. It's going to be just inside an echo chamber.
Right.
So and when we get the clip show towards the end of this thing, it's like, what are you saying, dude? I mean, what are you trying to say that you haven't already said? Okay, listen to the funny preachers say they've eliminated COVID-19. I'm glad you've made your point.
I was thinking, we both have kids, and do you think this band that's been around since the 80s is going to find a target audience in any of our children?
I don't know.
Well, definitely not any of my children.
I know that they would most likely find some of that stuff pretty funny. Mm-hmm. Which maybe I'm looking at it like, okay, maybe he's not just trying to be political here. Maybe he's just trying to make a joke. Which all right, fine.
I don't know about that.
I don't know if Al has a sense of Al may have drained the sense of humor from his body when he was pulling out the needles of heroin.
Ooh. All right. On that note, Coop.
It's really funny though. I find it very interesting that we managed to get more conversation out of just, I guess, the critical interaction with the band and their overall, I guess, performance and legacy in a way than we did the actual album.
Tells you a lot about the album, doesn't it?
The album is very simple. It's like it's like an action movie. You ever watched an action movie and tried to explain it to somebody why you liked it, and you're like, the fucking action's cool.
In quotes, like you're quoting what the hero said in the movie. That was probably what I would do with this album. I'd be like, hey, did you hear Uncle Al? Used a clip from Trump going to build the wall. Oh, listen, I'll play it for you.
Yeah, I mean, essentially. And, but yeah, I mean, for me in this album, like, honestly, there were parts of it that I really enjoyed. I really feel that, there's some really good moments in this album. Like, really that first half, a lot of that was really good. I really enjoyed what he was going with. The beat was good. Like, there was actual lyrical work instead of just the occasional clip show. It was nice. It was different than what I'd previously experienced. And then we hit the last half of the album that essentially just kind of, just turned into some weird video game radio station.
TV song number 6 felt like it was a Surgical Meth Machine song.
It probably was.
Oh, you haven't heard the other 5 TV songs, Jesse.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't plan to.
Yeah, like there's a part of me just because I'm a dick that now wants to do a medley of TV songs, but I've already shut down Spotify, and that would take too long.
Okay. Well, I'll have to check them out then. So these are continuations or a theme throughout most of the other albums, then.
Yes, sir. Very much so.
Okay.
And it's all the same stupid nonsense. It's. You think I'm bad with like playing songs on as a medley? There's Al just like, I want to put all these samples together. I can't help
make
myself.
It 180 beats per minute.
It's a really good thing with his propensity to mix samples that he is not in the medical field.
Right.
I'm going to need a rim shot sound. All right, speaking of rim jobs, that's the end of this show.
As a kid, I used to think that was just what happens when you needed to get your tires clean. So I kept talking about how my stepdad needed a rim job.
I'll bet. All right.
That's horrible.
So, no Metal Hammer of Doom for the rest of the month, unless unless two things. One, Jesse and Robert get ambitious and do one without me. I have nothing scheduled for the rest of November. However, we do have some re-airs coming up. We've got a re-air of Metallica St. Anger and a re-air of Celtic Frost Cold Lake. They're both going to be over the Thanksgiving holiday, so get ready for that. The next time I will be doing a Metal Hammer of Doom, I can't speak to what these two jabronis are going to be doing. Also the Rocky IV soundtrack. That'll be re-aired on the 12th when the Rocky IV director's cut hits theaters.
Dude, I am so ready for that.
Me too.
I have marked my calendars.
So the next,
I don't know what I'm working that day. It's exciting.
The next Metal Hammer of Doom that we will be doing live will be our Christmas show, believe it or not. At least that I'll be a part of. We're doing a very poppy Christmas. So it's going to be a collection of the Very Poppy Christmas EP, which is 4 songs, the Eat NXT soundtrack, which is 5 songs. I'm going to have to kill all the things she said because we've already played that one when we did the Poppy album. Fear of Dying single and Choke, which is 5 songs. So that's our Christmas show. Jesse, what do you think about that?
That sounds exciting.
Yeah, what do you think, Robert?
I mean, I am fully ready to hear her cult members commenting on our shit and wanting to ingest her bathwater.
Yes. And then after that, we've got a straight run of Metal Hammer of Dooms for you. We will have, over Christmas, we'll have a re-airing of Heavy Saurus, their Christmas album that we did.
Yeah, the Heavy Saurus album where I showed up halfway through and realized I listened to the wrong one because I don't fucking speak Finnish.
We're going to be doing selections from the Lord Diversity 8 or 7 album box set that they're releasing. So that'll be the 29th of December. We have a re-air of our Weird Al show on January 1st. That's New Year's Day. And then we are back to semi-regular shows again, January 5th, with the Cybertronic Spree, Volbeat, the Night Flight Orchestra,
Yes!
Battle Beast, the Browning, Jesus Christ, the Browning,
Let's think about this.
And then a break, another break, and then what else do I have here? Then a Legion. Jesse is making us do that one called Damned 'Em. Damned 'Em. Get 'em, jit 'em.
Jammed 'em.
A re-airing of our Blodsvept, our re-airing of our Blodsvept review. Plus, on St. Patrick's Day, we have a very special surprise for you. I don't want to talk about it right now, but we have a very special surprise set up for you for St. Patrick's Day. I'm very excited about it. And then, yes. And then we got Sabaton. We'll have Robert Winfrey on for that because he loves him some Sabaton. And then finally, March 29th, and that's as far as I've gotten in the calendar, we have 2 Metal Hammer of Dooms for you. 2 Metal Hammer of Dooms. Can you believe it, Jesse?
I cannot believe it.
First, we're going to have some fun finally. After all these months, we're finally going to have some fun. We're going to review the Hard School EP by Guns N' Roses. But then, that's not all. We're going to do a Guns N' Roses retrospective. How do you like that?
Oh, I cannot wait. That's going to be I'm going to be, having a little bit of fun with Mr. Brownstone.
We're going to dance with Mr. Brownstone. He's been knocking. He won't leave me alone.
Neither will Guns N' Roses and the fucking music media jacking them off constantly.
Shut up.
It wasn't like back in the day. Get in the ring, Robert Cooper.
Get in the ring, motherfucker, and I'll kick your bitchy little ass, punk.
I mean, you probably could. I don't get into many fights. I'm good at talking my way out of them.
And then the last one I'm going to tell you about, it's going to be part of our WrestleMania week coverage. Got a lot of re-airing, a lot of WrestleMania shows wrestling-related shows, rather, that we're going to be doing on the network. And one of the new recordings that we've got going on is Macho Man Randy Savage, Be a Man, Jesse.
Be a man, Holt.
This is a great album. I can't wait to talk about how, underrated it is. Because it seriously is underrated.
Yes, sir. So, as part of our WrestleMania coverage that week, we will review on the Metal Hammer of Doom, Macho Man, Be a Man. We might have to get Pat Mullen on for that.
I would love to hear his take on it.
If you haven't had an opportunity to check out our re-airing of our WrestleMania wrestling theme, our WrestleMania week, we did a show just on wrestling themes with Pat Mullen. That was a fun show. Have you gone back and listened to it again?
It's been a while. We
had Pat picked some real doozies on that one. Not the least of which was it wasn't Rap is Crap. He did the other one by the West Texas Rednecks, which was really funny. Remember that?
I do remember that. I remember that well. That was a lot of fun because I can't remember what I brought to the table because we all got to pick our own stuff, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
we actually joked
How
about that.
How long ago was that?
We actually joked about that on the show because, we all agreed to a set amount of songs, and then I picked 20 of them, and Pat was like, "What the fuck, dude?" It was very amusing. Anyway, that's it. That's all the plugs for me. Check out our Limp Bizkit review that we did on Halloween night, where I accused Jesse of being a liar, and then I was hoisted by my own petard.
Can't talk fucking logic to this man.
I don't listen to shit, Jesse.
Common sense, damn it. So, I guess I'll go ahead and slide my plugs in here real quick. I'll slide
them in.
there.
Slide,
right
slippity slide.
I will tell you that Cooper and I got together and talked about Eternals. So if you want to be prepared, you could be somewhat prepared for this upcoming Eternals movie that's going to be dropping here. What's this? It's this week, right, Mark?
Yeah, tomorrow, as a matter of fact, is when the early previews start.
So not only did we get to talk about Eternals this past Monday, but we talked about Eternals from Neil Gaiman. That's right. The one, the only Neil Gaiman 7 issue. Was 6, but it had to be 7 because we didn't want to end it with, hey, Eternals, you got to register for the Superhero Act. Okay, that's not... That's kind of how issue 6 ended, but they wanted to wrap it up a little bit better. So, yeah, Mark, we were in the middle. I don't know if you listened to the show, but we were in the middle of Civil War when that series was dropping, and they had to make sure you knew that. Yes. Iron Man was like, hey, you Eternals, you need to register. And they're like, the fuck if we do. So it was... and that was that.
No, the fuck we don't.
But anyway... Check that out. That aired this past Monday. And then, of course, Chris Armstrong and I got together and did a 6-part Rise of the Midnight Suns focus for Unspoken Issues. Nice, short 20-minute podcast. We shot for 22. There was one episode that was 22 minutes and 22 seconds. It's the most zen podcast you could ever... I think it's about 1 billion downloads right now, Mark. Just be prepared. 1 billion downloads because of how zen that podcast was. You may not see it actually in your stats there, but don't worry, trust me. But yeah, that was fun. Chris Armstrong and I talked about Morbius. We talked about Ghost Rider. We talked about Johnny Blaze. The Darkhold Redeemers. What a great series that was. I'd never read it. I know Chris actually said on the podcast he reads it. He's read it probably about 5 or 6 times, so it's one of his favorite series. Had a fun time talking about that. And I cannot forget, oh my goodness, source material dropped on Halloween with Power Rangers, A Nightmare on Elm Street. And hey, first off, I just want to say, absolutely go check that podcast out because it's batshit crazy. It's a web comic and it was done pretty well. All right.
Yeah, I listened to it. And you guys did a great job of talking about it. It was very entertaining, but the plot of that thing gave me a fucking headache. And oh, by the way, I like Alexis a lot. I don't mean this with any malice, but hearing her explain the finer points of Power Rangers lore made me want to throw her down a flight of stairs and then shove her broken
Power
body
Rangers
into a
lore
locker.
Is very deep and diverse.
Ugh,
well, I was going to say, we have a man on the podcast right now that was probably... I would say he should have been on that podcast. Coop would definitely have been like, "Oh yeah, I know what the
did the pumpkin rapper appear?
Oh my
no,
God.
The pumpkin rapper did not appear. But I did want to tell you, Coop. But before we get out of here, and I don't want to, I'll turn it over to you here for your plugs, Coop. But on Halloween night, our good buddy Justin Thomas, he's been on the podcast a couple times before, not this one, but on the network, I should say. Anyway, he came over and he showed me that on Tubi, Tubi, the streaming service, you can watch I assume all of the seasons of Tokusatsu, or what is it called? Power Rangers Zura.
You're talking about the original Super Sentai stuff. Yep. Love that shit.
90. It was 92's Power Rangers Zura Ranger or whatever it was.
Yeah,
anyway,
Ranger. That's what Power Rangers is based off of.
Got it. So he made me watch the first episode, which was pretty crazy. To actually watch a Power Rangers, I should say what they built Power Rangers around and all the plot that you don't get. So got to watch that, and he was like, "Oh, we got to check this out too." And he made me watch. Oh shit. Help me out. Ultra Q. We watched Ultra Q.
Yeah, the one from the 60s?
Yes. We watched the very first episode of that. So I knew you would
it's actually I really enjoy Ultra Q. No joke. I have a coworker that's like I think he's like 55. And the other day he did the Ultra Beam. He did that, that pose. And I was like, "Jay, what the hell are you doing the Ultra Beam for?" And he stopped. He goes, "Wait, you know what that is?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "That's from my childhood. That show's from like the 70s." I'm like, "I know. Isn't it great?"
It's awesome. That is awesome. Well, they're all on Tubi, apparently.
Deserve to be shoved in lockers.
Well, that's fine. You know what? That locker shall be my home.
Terrific.
Your plugs, Coop. You got the floor, sir.
Good. My friend does. My friend Hannah, she does remind me why I'm sober like every once in a while. It's been like a few months though, so I don't know if she's actually going to do more.
Can you please plug an active podcast?
What?
Can you plug an active podcast?
I was on Source Material with Jesse Starcher.
Oh my God! Can you plug something we haven't already plugged? Robert Winfrey.
I mean, I'm not Robert Winfrey.
You are when you plug things we've already talked about.
Pardon?
You are when you plug things we've already talked about.
Well, I mean, I was joking because I don't.
Oh
have
my
anything
God!
else
Like the
to plug.
prostitute said to the English solicitor, "Finish already."
See, white men. We're talking about them again. But no, otherwise, just like Thanksgiving dinner, I'm done.
Terrific.
Ba-dam-bam.
All right, folks. Thanks for joining us here in the Middle Hammer of Doom. For Jesse Starcher, for Robert Cooper, I'm Mark Radulich. Be well, be safe, and behave.